Skyrim, the bare necessities. Hello again, tubers. Intro. Before we go doing the whole dragon thing, or the whole vampire thing, or go skulking around Solstheim, it's best that we have a few necessities taken care of, so we have a certain amount of survivability and independence as we move around. This makes our game feel more like an adventure than just schlepping gear from each mission to the traders. Number one, build balance. It is tempting to spam our skills to level 100, and it is possible to do that, but a balanced build is more enjoyable and survivable than having some skills at 100 and still dying every time in a minor fight. That means having a balance of good long range skills and melee, so we're dishing it out from both long range and up close. We also need to have a balance between attack skills and defense, so we can give it and take it at the same time. Non-combat skills are also important for overall quality of life, such as alchemy, enchantment, barter, and smithing. Number two, gold sustainability. While Skyrim offers many skills where we can craft our own armor, weapons, and potions, having enough gold is still a necessity in the game. Sooner or later, we will need to buy training or an enchanted item or whatever, and these aren't cheap because our barter skills need to level up as the game goes along. Loot management is important. The more we can carry, the more we can sell. I have another video focusing on this part. The transmute spell is also important. We can get that from the halted stream camp north of Whiterun early in the game. This allows us to transmute iron ore into gold ore, which we then convert to gold ingots and then smith into gold rings for sale.
I've seen enough death to last 3 lifetimes. I never tire of a good fight. What do you make of that?
We can even enchant these gold rings for added value. And we don't have to mine iron ore. We can buy iron ore from the miscellaneous section of the arms dealers. We don't have to be an economist to see the value of turning iron into gold. We can also improve our buying and selling by leveling up the speechcraft tree and collecting trinkets that improve our barter prices. It's important to have some pocket money while moving around. As an example, if you have enough money to buy one or two filled grand soul gems, that may be a better option than having to force every boss we fight into a grand soul. Number three, passive regens. Our health and magicka normally regenerates over time, but we can increase these regen rates with enchanted trinkets and clothing. These ensure that we are regenerating a good rate while sneaking around in caves and barrows. These also minimize our need for potions, as their supply is always limited. Number four, limited skills and perks. Skyrim is a game that forces us to choose skills and perks based on our playstyle. Our playstyle will dictate that some skills are more important than others, so we narrow down our skill points to the skills that matter the most. It's really up to us to make these choices, like if we find it more fun to resurrect dead enemies to fight for us, or if we're good alone. Also, I've noticed that in some skill trees, as soon as we have enough points for that skill level, the perk automatically kicks in even if we have not chosen that perk. Maybe you can look into that before clicking on the perk. One example is the zero armor weight when we get enough points into light or heavy armor. The zero armor weight seems to automatically kick in even if we didn't choose the perk. Number five, assists. Skyrim has a few assists for the player to make the game more manageable. The first are the followers. They offer the enemy another target that's not us, and some are good at dealing damage to the enemy, and they help out on the carry weight. And we can expand this a bit with pets. Some also act as targets and deal enemy damage, while others help out with carry weight. However, take note that some followers and pets are subject to friendly fire and can die, so having them around will depend on our playstyle. If we are fond of area damage and our pets and followers can die, they may not be a good fit for that playstyle. There may be times in the game where we have to do a roll call to check if everyone made it out alive. Some followers and pets are unkillable, so that helps. But if they're around, it's best to check once in a while if they're still there. But even if they're unkillable, if we abuse our area damage and don't listen to their ouchies, they might just quit and leave and put a bounty on us from their point of origin. This is where being a mage has its disadvantages, because while we can have damage causing auras and area damage spells, these are not so good when having followers and pets around. There is one black book ability that will protect them somewhat, but I'm not so far up the game to check if this gives full protection or just minimizes the damage. And yes, followers and pets can block doorways, push us over bridges, or give up our sneak, but for me having them around is more fun than being by my lonesome, and getting around them in tight areas ends up being like a mini game. The other assist in Skyrim is a house, and there are many around. Some are better than others. It's a place where our pets can hang when we don't need them, and a place to store all our resources that we don't have to carry around, like field soul gems, ingots, and armor and weapons we're not sure if we are disposing or keeping. There's always that part of Skyrim that has to deal with housekeeping and streamlining, like cooking food, smelting ore into ingots, making new equipment and enchanting them, and making new potions. It helps if we can do all that in one place than running all around Skyrim because we have no permanent address. Number six, favorites. There is enough content on the internet that can guide us to our favorite overpowered item, and we ought to take advantage of that. Nothing in the game stops us from having an ebony crossbow or the fiery soul trap enchantment early in the game. You may have your own favorite, like an enchanted sword or knife or whatever, depending on your playing style. Favorites go beyond just weapons. Maybe we'd like to fortify our carry weight or barter before roaming around, so that's our call. Number seven, retreat. If we're not following the storyline, it is likely that we will bump into enemies way beyond our level, and it is not shameful to leave the area and get back to it once we are ready for the boss. Likewise, it is not shameful to hide in a corner like a scaredy cat while everyone is having at each other and for us to sneakily take out the baddies one at a time. Skyrim is a dangerous place. No amount of health and armor is enough if we are careless. Number 8. Multiple saves. We not only need to save often, but we also need to have many save files, say 20 or 30. This is because in some complicated caves and areas, especially those with multiple dungeons, the previous area might become inaccessible once we enter a boss area. And to leave the area, we have to kill the boss. And if the boss level is too high for us to get rid of him, and we cannot leave the area while he is still alive, then we are trapped. If we have multiple saves, we can go back to the save just before we enter the boss area and make a hasty retreat. There is also a cave where we have to cross a bridge to get to the final chest and some ore. But if we don't have the dragon sprint yet, there is no way we can cross the bridge back without falling to the chasm below, meaning we're stuck. The bridge automatically breaks down when we try to go back, and if we don't have the dragon sprint, we're stuck. Multiple saves are also useful when we have followers and pets, because if they are suddenly missing or are dead, then we have to revert to the last save game when they were still around. Conclusion. When we have enough skills and gear that give us enough endurance and independence, it is just a matter of leveling them up as we go along our merry way through Skyrim. Thank you for your time and see you soon.